What's going on, Hoops fans? Rich Quinones here, and this is WABA Whip Around. Is it indeed a very fast-paced look at the weekend action in the WABA, including updates, recaps, and previews? As I mentioned, I'm your host, Rich Quinones. I am very pleased and proud to be the voice of the Louisiana Spice. First and foremost, we want to kind of give you peel back the curtain a little bit. The WABA just tipped off their ninth season with 3 games last weekend. You get a full docket today and tomorrow. We're going to recap a lot of the action during the weekends. We're going to preview. We're going to push out on social media. I promise I will push out a lot of content on my social media accounts, but you have to follow the league on IG. And more importantly, for the Hoops fans out there, if you're supporting, family, friends that are playing in the WABA, maybe former teammates, subscribe to every team's YouTube channel respectively, because that's where a lot of the content is going to live in addition to IG. And that's where you're going to have an opportunity to see these games being streamed live in real time. And then obviously the idea is to build a little shoulder programming around that. And I promise the league I will do my best to push out as much as possible on my platforms as well. And as I mentioned, it's pretty easy to get social with me at Rich Q on Q on X and IG, on TikTok, Rich Q on the mic. And of course, as I mentioned, I'm very pleased to be the voice of Louisiana Spice at Louisiana Spice on IG and their YouTube channel. So very interesting start to the season. A light last weekend, if you will. The defending champ Aces get that win to open up the campaign 90-53 over the Chaos. The aforementioned Louisiana Spice hung in there. We'll get into that game in a moment. They lose to the Queens 87-74. They travel to Mississippi. Might be a little shorthanded today as well, looking for their first win of the season. And then on point Swish, wow, they erupt for over 100, 104 as they hold the Midwest Sound to 52 in a win. So we're going to have to really, as this season progresses, we've got notes galore to start things off, because there are so many players that we want to spotlight, that we want to highlight, so many teams that, we really want to give some shine to. And I think early on, a lot of these teams are trying to get their sea legs. They're trying to come up with some type of consistency, continuity. I know it's very difficult to do, especially when you start a season. If you're a new market owner, a new team owner in this league, it's very hard to do, because you're trying to get all the players on the same page. And a lot of these players might still be going to school, might be raising families, might be working 1 job, 2 job, 3 jobs, but they're still committed. And for that, I think they deserve our utmost respect. So as I mentioned, you had 3 last weekend. Now, we like to kind of go rapid fire, as I mentioned. So what to look for in week 2. All right, so here we go. You've got the defending champ Aces that I mentioned. They're coming off a 37-point win over the Chaos. How do you slow them down? I mean, this team last year, we saw that phonetical up and down pace. They had 4 players in double-digit scoring in the opener. And you see right there on the lower third graphic, Jolene Tambui had a team-high 24 points. Edwards with 18, Gamble with 11, Hunter with 20. They did a fantastic job on the boards, ripping down 56 rebounds. There's a reason this team is the defending champs. And a lot of teams right now, they're going to have to either figure out a way to face guard. They're going to have to figure out, when to double team, when to slide over, when to give that weak side help, because this team will just crush you from a variety of ways on the floor. And it's all about spacing on the floor. And speaking of spacing on the floor, the Swish, they were absolutely on point. I told you they got that 104-53 win over the Midwest Sound. What they did from the floor is remarkable. I mean, they shot a scorching 58% from the floor, not to mention 34% from beyond the arc. Michaela Epps had a monster contest, 27 points. She was 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. Now, you'll recall Epps, University of Kentucky product, back in 2017, was drafted by the WNBA Chicago Sky in 2017. And that 1-2 punch of her and Carla Booth, who also went 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, they finished combined, as I mentioned, 6 of 15. Booth is a big-time player as well, NAIA All-American. So again, defensively, teams, no, you got to guard that perimeter. You have to keep them honest. And they did something that we just alluded to that the Aces did, and we'll also get to the Queens in a moment, but they did a fantastic job on the glass. 26 defensive rebounds. Giovanna Layford, who's a fantastic player, Layfield, pardon me, from University of Dayton to 2018, 5'11", played right around 6'2" in that contest. She only scored 5 points, but she grabbed 12 rebounds, and she was a difference maker as well as they pulled away late in that game en route to a big time win. As I mentioned, 104-53. That is a rout, if you will. All right, how about the Queens? We talked a little bit about the Spice traveling to Mississippi. The Queens cleaning up the glass. I talked about this during the telecast and the broadcast. They were just sensational on the boards. They ripped down 76 rebounds in that week one, 87-74 win over the Spice. One of the things that I highlighted, because the Spice are such a guard-heavy team, the Queens really were able to take advantage of their athleticism, their length, and their height. Bree Blunt, 5'10", Jair Francis, 6'2", Aja Williams, 5'10", who can put the ball on the floor, Antoinette Womack, 6'1", who is dishing and swishing. Unbelievable. They are a well-rounded team, and they did a fantastic job. And the turning point in that game really was early on in the fourth quarter. The Spice hanging around. They're down 71-54 with about 8:15 to go in the fourth. Deja McKinney, who scored 37 to lead all scorers in week one, a season high early on with 37 for the Spice, knocks down a three. So again, you're down 17. Now all of a sudden you're down 14. She got teed up. And again, you might sit there and go back and watch that telecast. You might not agree with it, but the league, they have basically come out and they've told every team there will be zero tolerance when it comes to showboating, taunting, uh, any kind of nonsense like that. So unfortunately, McKinney got teed up to her dismay, but it was the correct call. It was the right call. It's tough that it happened when you hit that three, because then the Queens go right down the opposite end. They knock down 2 free throws. They get the ball side out and they have a little bunny. So it's a 4-point swing in essence, and it's a moot point on that three. So if you're a fan of the Spice, down 71-54, you could have been down 71-57, down 14 with a chance to get a defensive stop and maybe cut into that deficit. And who knows, with the red light, the opportunities, the turnovers in the backcourt, 2 becomes a 3, 3 becomes a 4. It could have been a different story. They hung in there. Ava Jones had some big buckets as well for the Spice. They crept it down to double digits, but they couldn't get over that hump. But, this is something that you're going to see around the league. Some teams are very guard heavy. So to offset that, to negate that, obviously you need these guards to break down these defenses, and you need these guards to penetrate and kick. And some of these teams, they were getting some pretty good clean looks in week one. They just weren't able to knock them down. As I mentioned, I thought McKinney played very, very well. Ava Jones contributing as well. But the bigs for Mississippi, that team, if they can just limit some of the turnovers, I think they got a little lapse when they were up 23, but if they can limit the turnovers a little bit, and we'll see later on today if they do that against the Spice with their height, they played very well in the interior and altered a lot of shots. So you're looking at some of the guard play for the Spice, and their guards were getting very frustrated because they couldn't go among the trees. So that's something to look for. And as I mentioned, that is a game where the Spice will go on the road against Mississippi. Mississippi looking to start the season off 2-0. So with that being said, let's take a look at the schedule for Saturday, July 12th. Chaos travel to Virginia, or I stand corrected. I believe that game might be in Greensboro. That's a 3 p.m. tip-off. Steel City Queens take on the on-point Swish. That might be a high-scoring affair. The Lady Wolves against Maryland Monarchs. That'll be a 2 p.m. tip-off. The Aces against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got to figure out a way to slow down that fast tempo of the Aces. The Carolina Lady Cougars will take on Winston-Salem Lady Warcats. Later on tonight, 6 p.m. tip-off, the Spice travel to Mississippi, looking to get their first win of the season, and the Queens looking to go to 2-0. Midwest Sound taking on West Michigan Elite Stars. You have 3 games on the docket tomorrow, which we will also preview. That'll be Atlanta versus Augusta, Winston-Salem versus Greensboro, and D.C. versus Richmond. We'll give you some updates throughout the day. You can follow me on my X account at RichQ on Q. But as I mentioned, The best thing to do to really support the league going forward, follow the WABA on IG, and please get social with them. Follow every single solitary team on their YouTube channel, because as they build up that following, it will enable them to share more content with you guys, meaning you'll be able to watch these games in real time, free, and you'll get a chance to kind of support the teams and the players that you follow. And that's what it's all about. The 9th season of the WABA tipped off last week with 3 full slate today, couple games tomorrow. We will recap all the action on a Sunday edition of the WABA Whip Around. Like I said, it's fast and it's furious. We're going to grow the show and the program. We're going to give a lot of exposure to the league and the players and the coaches and the team market owners who deserve it and are doing a fantastic job. Yeoman-like work, as we like to say. And a reminder, get social with us at womensaba.com, IG at Women's ABA, the YouTube channel. I'll put that all in the show notes. You see also, we have that bottom scroll that allows you to see what's going on action-wise on this Saturday. We'll be back in the saddle on Sunday to recap everything. As always, I'm Rich Quinones, play-by-play voice of the Louisiana Spice. I appreciate you guys keeping us tuned in for a couple minutes on this Saturday as we kind of went around the league, because that's what we do. That's what we do. That's why we call it the WABA Whip Around. Have a good sports Saturday. Enjoy the full slate of games. We will recap everything on a Sunday. As always, get social with us. And as always, I'm Rich Quinones, and we will certainly talk to you next time courtside.